Okay, so we're going to dive into one of the most beloved stories ever told. But listen, this is so much more than just a simple farm tale. It's a story that gets right to the heart of friendship, the tough reality of life and death, and how a few simple words, woven into a spider's web, could literally change everything.
In this story, it wastes absolutely no time. Right from the very first chapter, we are thrown into a life or death situation. This is not some gentle, slow start. It's a desperate plea from an 8-year-old girl, Fern, she gets a fundamental truth that the adults around her seem to have totally forgotten, that every single life matters. So yeah, let's start right at the beginning, with a tiny little piglet who's about to have its life cut short before it even really had a chance to begin.
So we first meet Wilbur when he's just the runt of the litter. He's small, he's weak, and his life is pretty much seen as worthless by Fern's father. The guy literally heads out with an axe to do away with it. But Fern, no way. She is not having it. She stands right up to him, calling it the most terrible case of injustice I ever heard of. And her passion, it actually works. The little piglet's life is saved.
And for a few weeks, it's perfect. Wilbur lives this amazing life, with Fern treating him just like her own baby. But of course, he can't stay small forever. By the time he's 5 weeks old, he's sold to her uncle's farm, the Zuckerman place, just down the road. And just like that, his whole world flips. He goes from all this love and affection to a lonely manure pile in this huge, kind of scary barn.
And it's in this new, lonely world that Wilbur finds out something absolutely horrifying about his future. And it's also where a very, very unlikely friendship is about to start.
Yeah, one of the old sheep in the barn just lays it all out for him super bluntly. See, Wilbur's a spring pig, and what does that mean? It means his whole purpose in life is to get fattened up all summer, only to be turned into ham and bacon for Christmas dinner. And there it is. That's the huge problem with the heart of the story. It's like a ticking clock that's now hanging right over Wilbur's head.
So Wilbur is, as you can imagine, totally panicked and terrified. But then, as he's crying, he hears this calm, quiet voice coming from the shadows. It's Charlotte, a pretty ordinary-looking gray spider. And when she hears what's going to happen to him, she makes this incredibly simple but powerful promise. I will save you.
Okay, so that brings up the big question, right? How on earth can one tiny little spider save a pig from a farmer's plan? Well, the answer is, it's both brilliant and honestly surprisingly simple.
You see, Charlotte really gets human nature. She tells Wilbur, people are very gullible. They believe almost anything they see in print. And her whole plan, which is basically a masterclass in marketing when you think about it, is built on this one powerful idea about how people think.
So here's how her kind of crazy plan works. She's going to use her web, the thing she uses every day to catch flies, and turn it into a billboard. The idea is to make Wilbur seem like a miracle. If she can make him famous enough, make him valuable enough, then there's no way anyone would ever think of turning him into dinner.
And then it happens. One foggy morning, the farmhand, Lurvy, he sees it. Woven right into the spiderweb in perfect block letters is a message: some pig. The Zuckermans are just stunned. They're convinced a miracle has happened right there in their barn. And just like that, Wilbur isn't just some ordinary pig anymore.
But you know how these things go. The excitement starts to fade after a while, and Charlotte knows she needs another word to keep this whole thing going. So she gets some help from Templeton the rat, who finds an old scrap of a magazine. And her next word? She weaves terrific into the web. And with that, Wilbur's fame just explodes. People are traveling from all over the county just to see him.
Her next word is radiant. And here's the really amazing part. Wilbur, who is just filled with this new confidence and feeling the love from his friend, he actually starts to look radiant. He feels terrific, he looks like some pig, and he's practically glowing with pride. He's actually becoming the pig that Charlotte says he is.
So Charlotte's plan is a huge success. It's working better than anyone could have imagined. But the real test, the ultimate test of Wilbur's new fame, is still to come. And it's going to happen at the county fair.
Because even with all this attention, believe it or not, Wilbur's life still isn't totally guaranteed. Mr. Zuckerman's thinking is, if Wilbur can win a prize at the fair, that'll lock in his special status for good. But if he doesn't win, well, that threat of becoming Christmas dinner is still very, very real. And man, is he up against some serious competition.
In the pen right next to him is this other pig named Uncle, and this guy is absolutely enormous. He's huge, he's loud, and he is the clear favorite to win the prize. So Wilbur's only hope now really comes down to his character. And, you guessed it, one final message from Charlotte.
And Charlotte, who is feeling so weak and just completely exhausted at this point, she digs deep for one last bit of strength, and she chooses the absolute perfect word, a word that describes Wilbur to a T. It's the total opposite of that boastful peg next door, and it just perfectly captures why everyone has fallen in love with him.
And you know what? The word humble, it works. Wilbur wins a special prize, and his life is officially, finally, safe. But just as Wilbur is celebrating this huge victory, the story takes a turn. It shifts to a more bittersweet ending, and it focuses on Charlotte's own masterpiece.
So while everyone is looking at Wilbur, Charlotte shows him her true masterpiece, what she calls her magnum opus. And it's not another word in her web. It's this beautiful, delicate, peach-colored egg sac. She poured every last bit of energy she had into making it. And what's inside that little sack? 514 eggs. That's right, 514 tiny promises of new life. And this fragile creation, this is Charlotte's true legacy, more than any word she ever spun in her web.
See, by keeping her promise to Wilbur and finishing her egg sac, Charlotte's life's work is complete. Her job is done. And she tells Wilbur that she's languishing, which is her way of saying she's getting weaker. She knows she's not going to make it back to the barn.
And so, Wilbur goes home. Yes, his life is saved, but his entire purpose has now been completely transformed. He so carefully brings that precious egg sac back with him. He's not just the pig who is saved anymore. He is now the guardian of his friend's children. He's the keeper of her legacy.
And this really is what gets us to the heart of this whole incredible story. It leaves us with a big question. What does it truly mean to be a friend? And I think Charlotte's answer is pretty clear, isn't it? It's about sacrifice, it's about being completely loyal, and it's about understanding that some of the most beautiful, most important things we ever do in life are the things we do for other people.